Hi, Vintage Stereo Buff here. Today I am going to work on my Proton D1200 power amp. I'm not going to go to any detail about this amp because I did a video of it a couple of years ago that's still on YouTube that explains about how it works. What I'm doing today is, when this amp came out, the RCA input plugs were mounted right on the board, and the soldered electrical connections were also how it was mechanically held to the board. It's a really shitty way of doing things. A lot of electronics in the later 80s and 90s did that. Not a good idea, especially on a $600 amp like this. So what I did, I ordered some new of these. These are called chassis mount RCA jacks. And I'm going to put these on here. So you see I already mounted some pigtails here to each one of these places and stripped the wires. Then I'm going to have to put these in here and solder them, and then I'm going to need to drill 2 new holes because I can't use these because it'll bump right into the board. So I'm going to have to move up right about here and here and make 2 new holes to mount my jacks. So I'll get set up to solder things together and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so I went and bought a step drill to make these holes with. I'll go ahead and do those. Okay, I'll check the size. Just right. Make sure to get all this stuff cleaned up. Want any metal shavings in my amp. Okay. Well, in case you all did not notice, I soldered those jacks onto the pigtails, and then I realized that I have to mount the jacks through the back panel before I can solder the wires onto it. So I cut those pigtails and jacks back off, and I got in and I unsoldered those little short jack short wires, and I put 2 new pigtails in here and left them bare. And now I'll have to mount the jacks in the panel first, and then I will solder them. So I'm going to set this down so it doesn't fall. And I'll go ahead and mount these, and then I'll solder them on. Well, I fixed my screw up. I got my wires ready to solder back in. I got the things mounted. And I'm going to solder these. I already soldered this one middle pin. But I have these 2 outer to do now. Okay, good. Okay, got that. Okay. Now I guess I just have to put the back together. All of this wire stuffed back in where it came from before. Well, as you can see, I got my amp put back together. Jacks look pretty good in there. You can still see these 2 old holes in there, but that won't hurt anything. So I'm all done with it. It works fine. I want to give a big shout out to Derek Williston at Williston Audio Labs, Big D. He has a Proton D1200 like that has the same problem, and he wants to redo his jacks. I don't know if he's done it yet, but a shout out to him. Don't be a big dummy like I was and solder the jacks onto the wires before you mount them to the panel. I had to take it off and redo it. The jacks have to be mounted through the panel first before soldering. I wasted 2 of these, so anyway, I got it all done, and I should have done this about 5 years ago, but I had too many irons in the fire. Anyway, for now, Vintage Stereo Buff out.